Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Om Om Vangme Manasi Pratishtita Mano Me Vaji Pratishtitam Aviravirma Yedi Vedasya Ma Anistaha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi Anenadhidena Horatran Sandadami Rutam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. In the last class, we have been doing the Shankara Bhashya of the preamble to the second chapter, where we found that Acharya has mentioned that Jagad Utpatti Sthiti Pralaya Krit Asamsari Sarvajna Sarvashakti Sarvavit Sarvam Idam Jagat Swato Anyat Vastvandaram Anupadaya Eva Akashadi Kramena Srishtva Swatma Prabodhanartam Sarvani Cha Pranadindam Mat Sharirani Swayam Pravivesha Cha Swatmanam Yada Bhudam Idam Brahmasmi Iti Sakshat Prabudhyate Tasmat Saha Eva Sarva Sharireshu Eka Eva Atma Na Anya Iti. So this opening statement, he mentioned a word called Swatma Prabodhanartham, means for self-realization. Swatma Prabodhanartham, translation is for self-realization. Now there have been questions which can come up in anybody's mind that why does he have to do that? Self-realization is the requirement. Now, one should understand that when the statement is being made by Acharya, he also mentioned that Sarvani cha pranadimat. Pranadimat is a word which is used in Sanskrit like the pranadimat. Sharirani swayam pravivesha. So he is now talking about Swatma Prabodhanartham is for what purpose? Now, the question which can come is that does he have to realize himself when he is all by himself? How does he have to do that? Now, the Swatma Prabodhanartham is self-realization is for having entered Akashyadi Kramena Srishtva Swayam Pravivesha, having created from the Akasha onwards everything in the creation. Then what is the purpose is the question will come only after that. So the question can come not before he created the world. Now the creation, there have been different theories which have been proposed in different Upanishads, starting from Leela Nyaya, then Nishwasam, then what you call the Swatma Prabodhanartham for realizing himself, then Eshasya Swabhavaha, Isasya, that it is his nature to become. multiple things, multiple objects in the world. All those things are explanations related to the theme which is related to each of the Upanishad. Here this Upanishad is talking about creation, and therefore the purpose of the creation, and when we go through the further steps we will understand that Shankaracharya himself is ridiculing this creation and saying that it is only Akhyayika, means it's a story for capturing the mind of the people who are not used to philosophy in direct. Those who are not able to accept the story, the direct philosophy as such. For them, the purpose of creation is being narrated. In fact, creation has never happened, is what we will come to know later. It is appearances, or it is not even appearances. It is the reason why we are feeling it will become clear once we complete the commentary for as the preamble for this part of it. So, the word which he will be now using after this is another word. Sukhavabodha pratipatyartham is another word which he will be using in the next paragraph. There also sukha avabodha pratipatti artham. That means sukha means happiness or joy or bliss. Avabodha means realizing or understanding, knowing. Pratipatti, to attain that. To attain the realization of bliss is the Lokavat Yakhyayikadi Prapanchaha iti Yuktatara Pakshaha will be the statement which is going to make. So there also he is saying that story is being created for the purpose of samsara, or the mundane life is a torture or a suffering. From the suffering, to release oneself from the suffering, that is the Sukhabodha Avabodham. And that is the Pratipatti or attainment, which is the means for which is the story being developed in this fashion. Okay, so these two words we will, when you come across, should not destabilize you or should not put you in a position where, why such a word is required. It is reference to the context which Acharya is making the statement. So we saw that the story had that Atma entered through the Sima, means the crown of the head. So the Purvapakshi or the objection was, did he enter through like a ant entering a hole or a burrow? So Acharya said that na alpamidam chodyam. Your question is, is very, insignificant. Bahucha atra chodidavyam. There are many things which you could have asked. Akaranaha san ikshadaha. Without karana, how did he see? Because he doesn't have eyes. He doesn't have. Apanipado javano grihida pasyatya chakshusya srunotya karna is the Shveteshwetara Vakyam, where he sees without the eyes, he hears without the ears, he walks without legs, he catches without the hands. So akaranaha means without the limbs. San ikshada, how did he see that? Anupadaya kinchit lokan asruja. Without a material cause, how did he create the world? Adbhya purusham samudra murchayat. So then from the water he brought the Purusha, and how did tasya abhidanat mukhadi nirbhinnam mukhadibhya cha agnibhyadaya lokapalaha. Then how did he create the lokapalas? By the methodology is given. Teshancha ashanayadi samyojana tadayadana prarthanam tadartam gavadi pradarshanam teshancha yadha ayatana praveshanam srishtasya annasya palayanam vagidibhya this jigreshyati etat sarvam sima vidarana prayoga pravesha samayveya. Different methods he is mentioning that in the story there have been many places which are, which is not coherent with the reality. So all of them are it is equally insignificant. But you could have asked any one of them, not just one question alone. So now the operand says, Astu, let it be so. Tarhi, sarvam eva idam anubhavannam. Then let me reject all this, what you listed above, as incoherent or insignificant. So Acharya replies, no. Atra atma avabodha matrasya वीक्षितत्वात् सर्वे ayam arthavada itya adoshaha. So there is no fault if you ask those questions. But atra, what is that? Arthavada itya adoshaha. It is not, it is, you cannot consider this is all eulogistic in nature or arthavada. The only thing what is to be understood here is that Atma avabodha matrasya. So the self-realization alone is the vivikshitartham. Vivikshitartham means intended meaning. Vivikshitatvat sarve. Because of that, these stories have got literal meaning, what you call that, apparent meaning, and there is a intended meaning. From the intended meaning, all these stories have got a relevance. Whereas if you look at the apparent meaning, they will be all incoherent or ridiculable. Mayavi vadva. Mahamayavi devaha sarvajnaha sarvashaktihi sarvametat chakara. So, like a magician, Mahamayavi Deva, he like a magician, when he is Sarvajnaha Sarvashakti, Sarvamedat Chakara, he created all those things. And Sukha Avabodha Pratipatyartam Lokavat Akhyayikadi Prapanchaha iti Yuktatara Pakshaha. So, Lokavat Akhyayika, in the world, when you don't understand something straight, then examples or stories are told, like the serpent and the rope and the snake, or there are many such stories which are Gandharva Loka, etc., which is being used in the Loka, in the transaction, to get across the Sukha Avabodha Pratipatyartham, to get the right meaning of the intended meaning of the statements. So for that purpose, here also we should understand that these stories are for the purpose of what you call Swatma Pradibodhartham. To realization, it should be understood. And that realization is what? It is for rejecting the stories. The stories are being told to reject the stories. Nahi srishta akhyayikadi paripnyanat kinchit phalam ikshade. By creating this story of srishti akhyayikadi paripnyanat, by the creating the knowledge of the story and a kinchit phalam ikshade, there is no direct fruit of the story which is intended in the creation of the story. Ekatma swarupa parijnanat tu amrutatvam phalam sarvopanishad prasiddham. Ekatmya swarupa. That the nature of everything is only one, and that is Ekatma. There is only one Atma, and that is the Swarupa of everything. Parijnanat tu. by knowing that Amrutatvam Phalam, you are guided towards immortality as the fruit of the story by Sarva Upanishad Prasiddha. By all the Upanishads, they are directing us only towards Ekatmyam. That is, there is only one Atma. Srishti tu, Smriti tu, cha Gitaditsu. In the Smriti also, like the Gita, etc., Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Sishtandam Parameshwaram. The 13th chapter, 27th sloka, Bhagavan Krishna says to Arjuna, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu, equally in all the creation, Tishtandam is established or is residing, Parameshwaram, this Ishvara or the creator who has created everything, he is staying or he is residing in every creation in equal, in same form. There is no, just because the elephant is big, the ant is small, the Ishvara, the Parameshwara is not more in the elephant and small in the ant. No. Samam Sarveshu Sish. He is equal in all the creations. He is the Bhagavad Gita sloka, 13th chapter. This is the Kshetrajnayo Jnana. So now, when this being statement is being made by the Vedantin, or the opponent is now asking a question. Nanu traya atmano bhokta karta samsari jiva ekaha sarva loka shastra prasiddhaha. There are three souls. That is, there are three. This aspect you should claim because the whole explanation is developing from this Traya Atma. There are three Atmas as per the idea of the opponent. He says that there are three souls. One is well known in the world as Jivatma, and in all scriptures as transmigrating soul and then enjoys acts. That is the one that samsari, bhokta, karta, samsari, jiva, ekaha. That is one. Aneka pani karma phala bhoga yogya anekadhisthanavat loka deha nirmanena lingena yada shastra prasidarsitena pura prasadadi nirmana lingena tad vishayika vishayika shala vishayakau kausalya vishaya kausalavan kausala jnanavan tat karta takshadiriva ishvara sarvajnaha jagataha karta titiyaha chetanaha atma avagamyate. The first one is the Jivatma, Sarva Loka Shastra Prasiddhaha, who is the Bhokta Karta Samsari. Now here he is talking about the Jagat Karta, who created the Atma, who created the Jivatma, or in other words, Ishvara. How is Ishvara being defined here? Anega prani karma phala bhoga yogya aneka adhisthanavat loka deha nirmana lingena. This Ishvara has created aneka prani, multiple creation, and on that karma phala bhoga karma phala upabhoga yogya anekadisthanavat. So, depending upon the karma and phala, upabhoga yogya, to use the karma, to do the karma and to enjoy the phala. Aneka adhisthanavat, base different substratum for each one of them to enjoy the action and the fruits of action. Dehadi nirmanena, by creating the deha for each and everything. Lingena, by the different identification marks. Yadha, just as Shastra Pradarsitena, in the Shastra it has been mentioned that what? Pura Prasadadi Nirmana Lingena Tat Vishaya Kaushala Jnanavan Karta Takshadihi. The Taksha means the carpenter or the one who constructs the house. So those days the houses were constructed using wood. So carpenter is the one which is making the hut or the residing place. And how does he make it? Pura prasadadi nirmana lingena tad vishaya kaushala jnanan. That he had the vishaya kaushalam means the expertise to make that the household. And this has been mentioned present in the Shastras that the Taksha is the one who has been endowed with the specific power or the knowledge for creating all those things. Like that, here also, Ishwaraha, Sarvatnyaha Jagataha Karta. He is a Sarvatnya and he is a Karta of the Jagat. He is the creator of the world. Dvidiyaha is the second one. Chetanaha Atma Avagamyate. Chetana Chaitanya Yuktaha iti Chaitana one. Atma Avagamyate. Is the Chaitana means life principle. So, what is that Shastra Prasiddharsidena? See, in the Shastra it is mentioned that the Taksha or the carpenter is making a house not for himself, for somebody else to reside in it. Same way, Ishvara, who is endowed with the knowledge to create this one, has created the different bodies for the Jivatma to reside, not for he himself to reside. This is what the opposition or the opponent is thinking. Not for himself. That is why he is saying Dvidiyaha. He is the one with the Chetana and he is a Sarvatnyaha and therefore he created the Jagat for it. And then how does he think? Yato vacho nivartande, Taittiriya, Yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha. That there is a Paramatma who is being referred as in the Aitareya Upanishad as Yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha. Or else in the Brihadaranya Upanishad there is a word called Neti Neti. Ityadi Shastra Prasiddha Aupanishadha Purushaha Stridhiyaha. The third one is that Purusha which is mentioned in the Upanishadam, in the Upanishads as Yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha, which is beyond for the mind and the walk, word, etc. So there is definitely crystal clear definition for the three Atma. One is the Jivatma, who is a Karta, Bhokta, Samsari. Then the second one is a Sarvatnyaha, who is a Karta for Jagataha Karta, who created the world of, which is for this prani or for the people to reside and enjoy the karma and the karma phala. So that karta is the jagataha karta dvitiyaha. And then the third one is the Upanishad prasiddhaha, Shastra prasiddhaha, which is the Parameshwaraha or the Brahman, as per which is called with the Tridiyaha. Evam ete trayaha atmanaha Anyonya Vilakshanaha. And he says that in the Shastra itself, the three Atmas are being defined separately with Lakshana for each one separately. That is, the Karta, the Bhokta is a Jivatma, the Jagataha Karta is a Sarvajnaha, Ishvaraha who created it, and then there is Brahman or the absolute Brahman, which is beyond the words and the mind, and you will not be able to find anywhere. Therefore, neti is the only method through which you can reach there. So, therefore, evam ete traya atmanaha anyonya vilakshanaha. Tatra katam ekaha eva atma advitiyaha asamsari iti jnadum shakyate. Then how do you think that your statement that there is only one Atma and that is Advitiyaha without a second one and Asamsari without Samsara, iti jnadum shakyate, how do we know about it? Is the question which is being asked by the opponent now. He is also, you cannot say he is the one, but normally Shankaracharya's methodology is that he puts the leading statements in his statement from which the opponent has to oppose it using the leading words, and therefore most of the time the opponent itself talks about the what you call the Purvapaksha will look as if you are not very familiar with this methodology in which the Sanskrit has to be deciphered and reading it, you will confuse it as a statement of a Siddhanti or the Vedantin. But here this long sentence from the Nanutraya Atmanaha Bhokta Karta Samsari Jiva Ekaha, from there Asamsari Jnadum Katam Shakyate iti, that long sentence giving the definition for all the three Atmas is by the opponent. Now, the Vedantin is very clear, or he is very asking. He is asking, Tatra Jiva Eva Tavat Katam Jnayate. Now he doesn't answer the question, how do we Traya Atma? There are three Atmas, and how do you not say that there is no Vilakshana Atma in the Shastras? There is three definitely clear-cut Atmas referred in the Shastra. So how do you not say that? So instead of answering that, Acharya is asking a question. As to that, how is the individual Atma known by you? Tavat Tatra Jiva Eva Tavat Katam Jnayate. How do you know that there is a Jivatma? The opponent. Nanu evam jnayate shrota manda drishta adeshta aghoshta vijnata prajnate iti. Prajnata iti. Now he is definitely defined. Vilakshana. Lakshana is given in the Shastra as he is Shrota, he is a Manta, he is a listener, he is a what you call Manta, Manana, one who does the Manana or the thinker. Drashta, one who is seeing that with the eyes. Adeshta, Adeshta, one who teaches. Adeshta means here is the teacher. Aghoshta means maker of sound. The teacher is the one which makes the sound, or the one which chants the Veda. That he is also known as Aghosha. Then Vijnata, one who perceives, and Prajnata, one who knows. These are the definitions given in the Shastra, in the Upanishad about the Jivatma. So now, this is it not known by this definition, this Lakshana, that Jivatma is the Shrota, Manta, Drishta, Adeshta, Aghoshta, Vijnata, Prajnata, iti. So, he is also not letting go the Vedantin. So now the Vedanta is asking, Nanu Vipradishuddham Jnayate Yaha Shravanadi kartrutvena amataha mantaha avijñātaha vijñātaha iti ca tata na mater mandaram mannitaha na vijñāter vijñātaram vijaniyaha. Brihadaranya Upanishad, 3rd chapter, 4th section and 2nd mantra. He is saying now, is not there a contradictory statement in the Upanishad also, saying that he is Shravanadi Kartratvena Yaha, the Vipradishedam Jnayate, is known by the contradiction. What is that Jnayate? Yaha, one who Shravanadi Kartratvena, even though he is the Karta for the Shravanadi, he is Amata, he is not hearing, but he is a Manta, because without thinking he is knowing. Avijñāta vijñāta, avijñāta vijñāta iti, that he knows without being known. He is not known, but he knows. Same way, he is the one who is thinking, but he is not the one who is he is thought of. He is being thought of, because he is not known to be thought of. Therefore, he is amata, but he is manta. But everybody, he is the one who knows, who is thinking about it. And avijñāta vijñāta, he knows without being known. Tatacha, same way in the Brihadaranya Upanishad, na mater mandaram manyuitha. Mater mandaram. Matehe mandaram means the intelligence or the consciousness or the awareness. Mandaram, he is the one who thinks about the awareness. And Manvita, he has to be known. Manvita. Na vijñāter vijñātaram vijaniya. And he is also, you cannot be known by the knowledge with which you are knowing anything else. Vijñāter vijñātaram vijaniya. That means you cannot know that which is the knower of the knowledge, is what the literal translation is there. But we should understand vijñāter vijñātaram. There is vijñāta, one who knows. Vijñātaram, one who knows the knower. Here there is two knowers. Vijñāta is the one which at the transactional level we are knowing. And we are knowing ourselves that we are knowing. And na vijaniya, that cannot be known. That knower cannot be known. This is that Brihadaranya 3:4:2, which has been mentioned. So he is countering now with a counter statement from the Brihadaranya Upanishad for the Viprasvishaddam. That what is the contradiction which is there? He said that contradiction is there, and there is no contradiction now by the Siddhanti. So the Advaitin is trying to prove to the opponent that if you are looking only at one statement, you will find there is contradiction. But if you are looking at the second statement, there is no contradiction, because there is a lakshana which is being given for the second. There are three atmas, you said. You should not forget that three atmas which are being referred to. So now, satyam viprastishiddham. Yadi pratyakshena jnayate sukhadivat pratyakshajnam tya nivaryate na mater mandaram ityadina. Now the opponent is saying, true, there is no contradiction, that will involve a contradiction. If the individual soul is known directly like happiness, that is, yadi pratyakshena jnayate sugadivat. What? Pratyakshena jnayate, whom? This Mater Mandaram, one who knows the knower. We know that we are knowing, though we are the knower, that knower can be known like the Sugadivat. Then Vipratisha, then it involves contradiction. Pratyakshajnam chane nacha nivaryate. But as a fact, the direct perception is denied by you cannot think that which is the thinker of the thought in the Upanishad words. But he is known through such inferential ground as hearing. Hence, how can there be a contradiction? Is now the opponent is asking that he can be inferred. Vijnater Vijnatara. That there is a knower who is knowing the transactional knowledge as knower. So there are three things. That knowledge of transactional knower is known by somebody else. That is an inferential knowledge. Is the statement made by the what you call the opponent. Nyayade tu shravanadi lingena tatra kuto vipradishetaha is the question which is the opponent is asked. Nyayade tu shravanadi lingena, by the method of hearing he can be inferred. How can it be inferred through? Nanu Shravanadi Linkayana Api Katam Jnayate. How is that he is known? Yavata Yada Shrunoti Atma Shrotavyam Shabdam Tata Tasya Shravana Kriya Eva Vartamanatva Manana Vijnana Kriye Na Sambhavada Atmani Paratrava Tata Anyatrapi Mananadi Kriyasu Shravanadi Kriyascha Swaya Swavishayeshua Eva Nahi Mantavyat Anyatra Mantuhu Mananakriya Sambhavati. Now, how is he known even through such ground of inference as hearing? But this is what the statement he made, that he can be inferred by hearing. For when the self is engaged in hearing an audible sound, it cannot have actions of thinking, knowing with regard to itself or in anything else, since this is engrossed in the act of hearing. Now here is where Shankaracharya is making the opponent go back one step from his inference. Yada Shrunoti Atma Shrotavyam Shabdam. Now, when sound is being heard, that time, this is only an example, sound is heard, same way anything is seen or touched or any of those knowledge which is at the sensory level, he cannot be doing the thinking because the fraction of a second, however fraction of a thing maybe it is, two activity cannot go on simultaneously. When he is hearing, he is hearing. When he is thinking, he is thinking. So, the act of hearing is only a mere of act of hearing. So, with regards to the act of thinking and any other sensory inputs which is there, the mind cannot think about hearing when it is hearing. Because the act of hearing has definitely got an object, Vishaya. That is what he is, harping upon. Svavishayeshu eva. Shravanadi kriyascha svavishayeshu evascha. The mind in touch with the organ of hearing is engrossed in the object of hearing. That time the mind cannot think because it is engrossed in thinking. Not thinking means it is engrossed in hearing. The next fraction of a second, it is stopping to hear, and here he is using the mind to refer to his recollection from the memory of what he has heard to correlate with the subject which has been heard and to make a knowledge out of the hearing. But he is not thinking about the thinker. When we are thinking, we have an object of thinking. See, that object of thinking comes in contact with our, the object of hearing comes in contact with our eardrum. Eardrum doesn't know it is hearing. The hearing is known at the mind level. So when it is hearing, when it is hearing, there was a problem with the microphone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So when the hearing is taking place, the mind is the one which is hearing, not the eardrum. The sound is coming. So the mind is listening to the sound. At that time, mind cannot think. This is what Shankaracharya is harping upon. The next moment, it stops listening to the ear and is correlating with the sound which has been heard with the memory which is there in the mind as the chitta or the memory bank to identify the sound which has been heard, to give it a meaning or to give it a recognition. So, all these times you can say that the Mananadi Kriya is not happening. That is, he is not thinking about the one who is hearing. Nahi mantavyad anyatraha mandu manana kriya sambhavati. What he is refuting is that the inference that there is a possibility that the inference is possible about the real thinker. Who is the real thinker is the Atma. Atma doesn't think. Atma is thinking about the mind knowing the sound is what the Purva Pakshi is saying or the opponent is saying. So Shankaracharya is refuting that. Because when the mind is there is never a moment when the mind is thinking, even when the mind was thinking about the memory bank, it was not thinking about the Atma, it was thinking about the recollection of the previous data, and he is coming back to refer to the sound again. It is oscillating between the sound and referring to the data to make a meaning out of the sound. Right now, when you are here listening to my sound, the words of English, when you are hearing it, you are making a meaning out of the English meaning because you have a meaning in your memory bank. And you are coming back to listen to me again because the next word is coming again by the meaning, by the time the next word is being heard by the sound, the eardrum. Again, the mind is going back to the memory bank and listening. It is never getting a time. The mind can infer that there is somebody listening behind that also. That is being refuted. So, that it is the important aspect of the one which is he is saying that with regard to that, not the thinkable person he has not been able to go outside his mind for the inference part. Now, how does the inference take place? For the inference, there is a knowledge. See, for example, there is fire in the hill. He is seeing the smoke in the distance. And he knows that wherever smoke has to be there, fire has to be there. Since he is seeing a smoke at a distant hill, he is inferring that the hill is having fire. So there the inference is by the mind and the eye and the data bank in the mind that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. It is not that the mind is knowing, the one who is knowing there is a fire in the mountain. It is only referring to the previous data bank. Same way, all our life, we are thinking and we are only having our contact with the sense organs and we are referring to our data bank, and our mind is not in a position able to refer or infer to the thinker of the thinker or the knower of the sound or the seer of the vision sound. No, because the mind has to keep on fluctuating between the data bank, which is the previous data, or to the feed into the data bank, which is the new data, and go back to the sight again or the sound again. It is never getting a time to know about the Atma, which is that is what the last statement which Shankaracharya is making. Nahi mantavyat anyatra mantuhu manana kriya sambhavati. So he is asking the opponent, is not mind able to think of everything? Sarvameva mantavyam, nanu manasaha sarvameva mantavyam. Is it mind not having the potency to have multiple things? So, the question which the opponent is coming is that, under the presumption that the mind is all powerful and it can work in all the directions at the same time. So the opponent is being asked a question by Shankaracharya or the Vedantin is, Yadi evam him syat, if truly that is being so, still no thinkable can be thought of without the thinker. Even the mind, which is thinking that it is the one who is thinking, is not possible to think because without Atma, the mind also cannot think. It is in the presence of, we know in the deep sleep, even though there are sound which is coming through the ears, we are having touch sensation with the floor or the cot or the mosquito or whatever it is. The sensations are not known by the mind because the thinker of the mind is not connecting the mind because the mind has gone to sleep. So that is why he is asking the question, Yadi eva kim syad? Who is there now? This following that. idam atra syat. So who is now knowing? That is the question which is being asked by the opponent, which is a long answer which goes into the step-by-step procedure of knowing the Atma. I think I'll stop here because I will not be able to get into the next subject, because that goes into how the Atma can be known at the same time not known, because the contradictory statement from the Upanishad, Vijnadaram arekena vijaniyadi, is the question which will be coming up in the same statement, which we will do it in the Friday's class. I'm stopping it here for the day. ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मायेति वेदस्य म आणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्ततामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् avatu vaktaram om shanti 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 om purnamada purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.